Good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to all those who are joining us from across the globe, and welcome to Thema Talks. Today's topic on supported employment fostering diversity and inclusion in the workplace. Aigwan Wanakam Mama Kecha Kondamai as we greet at Thema Collection. Thema Talks is an initiative of Thema Collection which aims to provide a platform for experts and participants to discuss sustainability related topics and share their knowledge and experiences. In addition, we focus on creating a platform for collaborations and partnership among different stakeholders to address sustainability challenges and achieve common goals. Today's session of Thema Talks on supported employment fostering diversity and inclusion in the workplace focuses on promoting inclusivity, the challenges faced, and any inspirational success stories involving the projects related to persons with disabilities. To begin with, I invite Ashan Karunananda, Senior Manager Sustainability Product Development for Thema Collection, to start the session for today. Over to you, Ashan.
Yeah, thank you, Chani. Give me a second until I share my screen. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible, Chani.
Yes, Ashan, you're loud and clear, and the screen is visible to us.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Jaini, and welcome. Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for joining the fourth session of Thema Talks. So here today, I would like to give a small introduction to our Thema collection and the sustainable initiatives that we are taking. So about Thema Collection. So Thema Collection is a thematic eco-friendly hotel chain in Sri Lanka where we have got 11 boutique hotels, resorts, and retreats across Sri Lanka. Here, what's a specialty is we always in our each and every hotel there's a specific theme, and also we always try to share stories of Sri Lankan local culture. So moving on, we always incorporate sustainable initiatives throughout from our construction. Our latest project, Wild Lamp in Galloya, where we were awarded a platinum certification by the Green Building Council of Sri Lanka. And also some of the work that we do is the reduction of single-use plastics. So we have implemented refillable water bottles at each of our properties, and also especially the toiletries are refillable and are Ayurvedic. And during our excursions, what we have planned is all are plastic free, where we have tried to do a minimum impact to the environment. And for the minimize of energy consumption during our architectural process, most of our restaurants are using natural light, which supports the energy reduction in energy consumption. And this is also a special focus. So we especially in our properties, what we do is we always try to support the skills of local artisans and entrepreneurs. So they also get an income from the things we implement. Moving on, so we have got two signature projects where we work especially with the community and university students. So one is the computer and language centers, which is mainly what we have identified is English IT is something important. And in our hotels where we find students where they lack this requirement, we have established 4 language and IT centers across Sri Lanka, where we have found in Busa, Ahangama, Kalkuda, and Sigiriya. So here what we have done is we have capacity built close to 6,000 students, and has helped them in developing their English and the basic IT requirement, which we have identified. It's a very important requirement for students living in these rural communities. And recently, one of our new initiatives. So as everybody know, Sri Lanka is a biodiversity hotspot where we have a rich biodiversity as well as there's a threat, especially due to anthropogenic activities. So the PERI initiative, which stands for Biodiversity Education Research Initiative, is an initiative of Thema Collection. So we have identified 3 pillars. One, research is very important. So collecting data on how the biodiversity of Sri Lanka has been impacted. For example, how climate change is impacting biodiversity. Research is a must. And also what we have found is awareness creation. Awareness creation can be done in many ways. For example, the research which we have been conducting at our resorts, we publish in scientific symposiums. But actually, that is not where we are focusing, but also sharing this knowledge in a manner how people could understand. For example, people who are in the rural communities, how by protecting biodiversity, how they could generate income. And another important area that we focus us through our initiative is collaborations. Without sharing what we have learned with other organizations and also especially the youth is something where we are focusing. So coming back to Thema Talks. So Thema Talks, again, initiative we just started recently. This is our 4th session. So here also we try and focus on several pillars. One is knowledge sharing. So as we all know, knowledge sharing on sustainable related topics. So as we all know, we work, many organizations work in these areas. So what we feel is that sharing of this knowledge is very important. And partnerships and collaborations. So one other thing, like we always try to focus, is partnering with other organizations to share the work which they have done. So always the knowledge is not the thing that we have the knowledge, but getting partnerships is something important. And also what we have identified is sharing of success stories. For example, if an organization has implemented a successful project, learning from them is a must, other than we trying to do it by our own. So this is a platform which we have created so that if there are success stories, people could share and it could be implemented replicated in other areas as well. So today is the 4th session. So we have had a round of 3 sessions where the first session was mainly focused on partnerships for sustainability. Then we highlighted the driving the green building revolution, how about the green building concept, how is it important, and how we could implement it. And then again, we spoke about Sri Lanka's biodiversity, the threats and the work, the research which is being conducted, and how this could be shared with other people. And today, again, another session, I would feel a topic which is less spoken in Sri Lanka, but especially we should promote and also find areas where you could implement these projects as well. So for today's speakers, there's Amanti Pereira and Chalani Marasinghe, who would be sharing their success stories in this project. And hopefully we are going to have a good fruitful session. So thank you very much, everybody, once again for joining. And Jaini, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ashan. Yes, just like you said, this topic for today is not a very commonly spoken topic. And I think a panel of speakers will have a lot of knowledge to share on this topic. And I believe there's a lot for us to learn today from the panel. So just like Ashan said, this is a less spoken topic, but MAS has actively undertaken projects and initiatives aimed at enhancing the lives of individuals with disabilities and fostering improved working environment for them. So this session today is focused on sharing the success stories based on the work that MAS has conducted and how it will help other institutions as well. Moving on to our speakers for the day, Ms. Amanti Pereira, Head of Social Sustainability at MAS Holdings, and Ms. Chalani Marasinghe, Senior Executive Sustainable Business at MAS Holdings. So I would like our panel of speakers to show their faces to the audience today. Welcome to Thema Talks. And I would first of all say thank you so much for joining with us today. We really do appreciate it. I would like to start with Amanti. If you're to start with, can you share your perspective on the importance of fostering diversity and inclusion in the workplace, especially with regard to persons with disabilities? And what is and why actually? Why is your priority for this organization? Why is it this important for MAS? If you could care to share.
Thank you very much, Jaini. Just checking if I'm audible and
yes, you're perfectly clear.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Firstly, I must say thank you to the Thema collection for this opportunity. I think sharing topics of this nature and learning from each other is so important, and building it into your business philosophy is very commendable. So here from MAS's point of view, I first want to say, you know, Ashan was very generous in saying MAS will share its success stories. I'd like to rephrase that as MAS would share its journey. I think, you know, success, it's a moving target. I don't think we'll ever say that we've arrived at, perfect diversity and inclusion. We should always be left hungry enough to want more. And finally, when we do have a world that there isn't, that disparity, then perhaps we can say we've reached some level of success. So from a personal perspective, I mean, fostering diversity and inclusion is just that, right? If something doesn't look fair across the board, you have to do whatever it takes to change it, right? And that is basically the philosophy of the work we do, even for persons with disabilities. There are certain things that you would want, there are certain things that I would want, and if within our rights, we have the, it's within our rights to actually want certain things and to work towards them and be able to achieve them. And if there is some externalities that's standing in our way, which is unfair in that equation, then it's up to everyone to change that equation, because we all do well when everyone does well. So seriously, that is the thinking. When you look at MAS, yes, where we really want to be that equal opportunity employer. I mean, that's what we aspire to, and that's what we've always wanted to do. But employment should be for all. It's a basic right and a need. And it's only when people are self-sufficient, regardless of whatever their limitations or challenges are, that's when the world moves forward. And we honestly feel that everyone can bring something to the table. So it's really coming from that kind of approach, and I'll probably elaborate more on it as we move on. But the very fact that if someone can contribute, and everyone can in their own way, it is up to us to be able to harness that, potential. And in that sense, that's the same way you look at all other diversity enablers, be it gender or age non-discriminatory. In the same manner, when you look at disabilities, it should be just one of those things that we do our best to, to work beyond.
Perfect. I mean, just like you said, it's a journey, and then in this journey, we're trying to make it, to the fullest and make it a success. Moving on to the second question, I would say, as MAS, what is your approach for fostering diversity and inclusion in the workplace, particularly for persons with disabilities?
Sure, Jaini. I think we had one little slide on what that looked like.
Okay.
Hold on a moment. I think Shalini is sharing. Great. So our approach is actually, like we mentioned, it's really a rights-based approach. So looking at how, the company's policies or processes might be widened to actually include the requirements of everybody, especially persons with disabilities. So when you look at that approach, it's like firstly looking at opportunities in the workplace. That is our first sphere of control, right? Because we overarchingly govern that space, right? What do we do within our workspaces to recruit, to employ, to train, to give opportunities to engage, etc. But beyond that sphere, what we've also kept a look at is like promoting equal opportunities in the marketplace, right? So it should be just beyond MAS. If you're doing what we do right, people should be able to get a job wherever they like, and they probably might not be interested in our sector or our industry or have talents elsewhere. And to a large extent, that's what we're doing here, right? Sharing this story with you. I mean, hospitality has great opportunities. And I mean, it's one of the foremost sectors in Sri Lanka. And if we can include more persons with disabilities into that sector, that would be what we would do to kind of promote equal opportunities in the marketplace. And then we can't just stop there. Ideally, there is a whole social cohesion. There's a story that's going on there that we all have to be a part of and be responsible for, right? What is the dialogue around discrimination, about biases that exist in our communities? And what can we do to stop it? We can say, yes, we provide amazing employment opportunities, and we talk with like-minded other companies and give that as well. But still, before people even come to the workforce, we have huge problems in this country when it comes to inclusion of persons with disabilities. There's so much of norms and myths around this space that don't even allow families to rightfully incorporate their members who have a disability into the community, to integrate, for them to be able to study. It is so cost prohibitive, some of the interventions required. And that's why many, you see in overseas, many communities have perfectly integrated persons with disabilities who are real contributing members of the society. And they really can also make everyone else understand what else can be done in our communities. And I feel that for us to get that whole piece on education, on acceptance, and on understanding, I mean, pure education, if I can come back to it, we really have a space there for people to understand disabilities, how it happens. Even we were trained and we had to unlearn, right? What is a disability? I mean, I've been wearing specs from the time I was, say, 11. And one of the first sort of unconscious bias trainings on disabilities, you know, they asked, okay, you wear spectacles, do you think you have a disability? And I said, no, I can do everything that anyone can do. And then that was, could you do that without your specs, was the next question. And I realized I couldn't do anything without my specs. And so then I was asked the question, is it actually your disability or the environment that makes it a disability for you? If you're enabled through something as simple as this, right? You have that equal opportunity to contribute, and it's an even playing field, basically. So that was like really our approach. I mean, putting an approach up there and saying we've achieved all of this is two different things. We have a long way to go in each of these areas, especially as you move down, your sphere gets wider, and, you need to really affect change in a different manner. But even within companies, it's a learning and it's a journey, and it's about taking everyone forward. It's not a directive-based approach, but it is rights-based for people to understand, the potential, and where we also have to be more open to understand other situations.
Exactly. So it's just like you said, it's all about accepting, education, and understanding each other, I believe, right? So we need to educate more people out there and accept that they are also people like us, and they are not somewhat anyway below or above us just because if they have any sort of a disability. They're equally.
Yeah, I mean, I would even refrain to say people like us, right? I think we're all people, right? And there's no one like you, there's no one like me. So I just say we just need to be able to allow everyone to coexist and be the best version of themselves.
Perfectly. You've mentioned it. Moving to the third question. How did you begin the process of creating an inclusive environment for persons with disabilities? And what were some of the initial challenges, and how did you overcome them? I'm sure you will have a lot to add about all the challenges, because this is something quite new and we can't get a lot of experiences from out there. So I'm sure you will have a lot to comment on that segment. Challenges.
So, Jani, I would like to say there was a great thinking behind it, but I would be really honest, with many of these different and difficult topics, it's always with a sort of a leadership buy-in and someone who just believes in it in the first point. And we were very lucky to have founders who really committed to, inclusion of persons with disabilities at a very early stage, long before terminologies like, equality, equity, and, diversity, inclusion came into the fold. They were just, they really took a look at, is there anything we can do? Because people approach them from different kind of associations, etc., on giving people employment. And it was one of these engagements that, there were some colleagues with a hearing impediment that, joined MAS for the first time. So it's about really someone first taking that step, not knowing the whole path, right? I'd say with all of the things that could and couldn't go wrong, if you really looked at it like that, you'll never get started, right? But they actually looked at, okay, what is it that we can do? And then through word of mouth, this community kind of grew at MAS. And then we looked at what are the formalized processes, what's happening everywhere else in the world. That's basically the way MAS works with even their bread and butter, the business that they do. They'll always look at what's world class and try to emulate that, right? And learn from it and say, how can we tweak it to our situation, right? Even if it was things like productivity, etc. They looked at Toyota, right? They looked at different systems to bring in how the company works. So even when it came to areas, social areas like that, they always benchmark against, where is this happening and how does this work out? And I'm sure Chalini will touch more upon it, but even for our approach, moving away from a philanthropy or, charity-based model to a rights-based approach, we saw that that was where the communities that were getting it right, the communities that were really independent and fostering true equity, was really having this rights-based approach. I mean, even from terminology, we spoke to the experts, and now there was so much of use of special needs, differently abled, right? And then we went to the real lobbies, and this is just say persons with disabilities. This is not something that you have to sugarcoat or hide or, the people in the lobby really said, put the disability first or the person first, either persons with disabilities or, a disabled person, that it wasn't anything to, it's just like, something that you would say, okay, spectacle wearer or something like that. We're so used to that being there now. If I look at my driver's license, it has spectacle wearer, right? And there's nothing that I would take amiss with that. But kind of knowing what you're dealing with and calling it out and being honest, that was a part of the journey. So some of the earlier things were really dealing with this whole, this is not a charity-based or philanthropy-based movement, but it was a rights-based movement, just like, you would think that women and men should have that equal opportunity. We are looking at this area as well. So some of the earlier challenges were possibly around, I mean, it was almost protective kind of bias. So, people were more afraid of, are we subjecting our colleagues with a disability to more danger? From a health and safety point of view, we run huge manufacturing organizations and with a lot of people, which means obviously health and safety and those concerns are foremost and one of the areas that we really have to look out for when you have 2,000, 3,000 people working in the same space and dealing with machinery, etc. Maybe not as bad as, heavy machinery, but, still there is all of that. So understanding how those needs can be met in a manner that is safe, but also not eliminating people for fear of putting them in danger, right? And asking the person first, and then we realize this is how people want to be assisted. This is the best way of doing it. So sometimes you need to have the person in to understand the space without thinking that, most companies and bigger companies are even more at fault at this, of thinking of having a perfect place before you introduce something that is well vetted, piloted, finalized, but this 80-20 rule also applies when you're trying something new, and you have to be honest and patient on both ends, right? The company might get a few things wrong, and, the recipient might. So those were the having open conversations, speaking to management and dispelling fears, dispelling sort of myths that you might have believed. And also, and it's ongoing. I like that you asked whether it was like the earlier problems, but problems are always ongoing because there'll be new people to onboard, new management will come in. So, that are, I wouldn't say problems, I'd say challenges really. You have to constantly keep the conversation going. So I think it's very important to think that we haven't reached the end, like I said in the beginning, but, it's a constant journey, and we have to keep continuous improvement is a huge part of the MAS culture, and it applies here as well.
The continuous journey and trying to make sure that all of us are equally here.
Yeah.
Facing all the challenges and facing them all successfully, I would say.
Yeah.
So moving to our next question today. Can you share some specific practices or policies that have been successful in promoting diversity and inclusion, especially for persons with disabilities? So I believe there's a lot of effort and hard work from a team to get a team like this together and make things happening. So how has that been?
Yeah, so I think we'll put up basically what we have done and our main pillars, maybe if we share right now. Okay, so we have this kind of 4E model. Many companies also follow the same kind of thing, which is employ, enable, engage, empower, right? Employ is quite self-explanatory, right? Giving opportunities, first of all, that you bring people in, right? And that is understood, like I said, before you think you're perfect, before you think you have all the answers. If you have given an opportunity for a colleague with a disability to come in, that's our first. And we have colleagues from the entire spectrum of disabilities, sight, hearing, speaking, physically impaired, and even cognitive impediments. We have everyone, though there might be, I feel that we do have a larger group in the hearing impaired space. And what we do is then enable, that is looking for reasonable accommodation to help persons with disabilities. For instance, we might have a siren that goes off, but maybe having it a siren and a light to say the change of a shift, etc., so that the person with disabilities is able to, coexist. Or we have a buddy system where there's somebody assigned so that in case of an emergency, etc., those are all enabling activities, right? Anything that we do in the space of helping our colleague with a disability perform his or her work better. The third area is engage. So engage is actually how we involve the non-disabled community, right? Because our colleague can't just, be the best version of themselves by having various enablers on themselves only. Now, for instance, we teach things like sign language. We have a set of supported employment officers who are training. We teach unconscious bias and give opportunities to share, etc., because it's very important that everyone is engaged so that there isn't two sides to this story, but we are all colleagues in one company. And finally, empower is that, that ultimate area of really like the way we empower women to take their future into their own hands. In the same manner, for our colleagues with disabilities, what do they want to do next? Where do they want to skill up? Kind of take them to that next level of thinking about their lives, their aspirations, and their careers. So that's basically the approach. So it's quite interesting what we do. There's a lot of work on how we do disabilities engagement. Now, if you look at this is a picture of our website. So how do we really sort of enable people? If you see the MAS Holdings website has all these accessibility adjustments, right? So you can go there, and there's like a little icon of like a man. And when you click on it, they will tell you, okay, what sort of lighting, for instance, if you're vision impaired, if you tend to have triggers for various things like seizures and everything, they reduce the color, the flashes, etc. So I'm just showing you just one other end of what it is like if you do really look at MAS and how it operates. So there's the work that you would do right with people, which is first of all the most important thing: learning sign language, giving opportunities for people to share their talents, etc. And even the outward bound training, etc. is really important. And then going into the communities. I mean, we have got external parties to help us as well. We work with the EFC, etc.
Right. So you made a statement saying we are all colleagues in one company. So that gives you that feeling we are all here together. That statement itself makes a lot of meaning to everybody, and we take everyone to the next level. So there's a lot of motivation and enthusiasm in those two statements. Actually, what you previously
there's a lot of work still to do.
Of course.
I mean, I'd say that's an aspiration, and then we hold ourselves to it. Some days are harder than others, but it's a journey, and there's lots of great resources out there, lots of great people to help, lots of great stories. I mean, the stories that we hear from our own colleagues who have overcome so much long before they came even to, do a job. I think that's one of the biggest values that they bring to the table, right? Just the resilience, the ability to overcome various challenges. It's very inspirational, and we are always looking for role models. I mean, all companies would like people to have role models, colleagues who inspire each other, and you need to look no further than this, right? And we have learned so much, and I think that's really humbling to understand that, the space that we all live in.
Thank you very much, Amanti, for sharing those valuable insights and the stories. I would like to move on to our next speaker for the day, Chalani Marasinghe. Chalani, from you, I would like to first ask, could you elaborate on the concept of supported employment and how it benefits persons with disabilities in the workplace? Over to you, Chalani.
Thank you, Chalani. And first of all, let me thank you for inviting us for this platform. So it was a great opportunity for us as well to talk about this kind of topic, which is very close to our heart. So to start off, about the supported employment, I will just give you a definition. It is a model that targeted on the employment of persons with disabilities, where we can support them to go forward in their career. before that, so I will share some, let me share my screen. So I will start with this picture. Hope you can see. Yeah. So this is a picture which I taken from the internet, but in the learning process, we also used to learn what is supported employment, what is it, to understand what is it. So just like if you look at the picture, what you can see, there's in the left side and this right side, there's two pictures. There is a different in between those pictures. So I think you can understand something in between, like from the left side picture, if you can see, they are looking at a sport event, a match. So when and there are three people in this picture. So one is the taller guy, and the second one is a medium height person, and there's a small like short person. In the height, the physical appearance is different. So when the first guy, the taller guy, don't all three people have given the facilities, like equal facilities, 3 platforms to watch the match. So the taller guy, even he don't have that platform, he can see the match. And the second guy with that platform, also he can see the match. And the third short person, he can't see the match, even he is given that bench, like the facilities. So what we can see is, in the left side picture, they were given equal facilities, but only 2 persons can see the match and 1 cannot. When we see the picture in the right side, you can see the person who is the short person has given additional support. With this, all three persons have the opportunity to see the match. So this is like what we consider as the basis for supported employment, which is equality and equity. So I will move. Yeah. So as humans, we all are different in different ways, like maybe physically, maybe mentally, or in social aspects, economic aspects. So we are different, but all we have is equal rights. So including the right to employment. Everyone has the right to have the employment. So with this difference, everyone require help and support in different ways. When we consider, we have like, just think like when you start your career, you might be you can't, like, some people cannot communicate, some people cannot document, like not in very skilled with the documentation, some may not very familiar with the technology. So in each individual may require different supports to move on their career. So they need support. So that is the basis for supported employment. So when we consider the persons with disabilities, so when we consider the persons with disabilities, So we believe in equal rights for all, especially for persons with disabilities. It doesn't mean we treat everyone in the same way. As we saw in that picture, it doesn't mean providing the same facilities for everyone. It consider giving everyone an equal chance to access rights and opportunities. Like they have the right to watch that match. So they were given necessary support to watch that sport event. And people might need different levels of helps to access the same right. So we cannot provide the same level of support to everyone. Some people need like just think like 1 week training. Some people need 2 months training. That kind of extent we need to provide with these people. And without these supports, some people can't enjoy same job opportunities as others. Just think some people may need ramp to come to the office space because they are using a wheelchair. Some people might need different accessibility needs. So we might have to provide that support to get their valuable engagement in the workspace. And instead of viewing disabled person as problem, normalization shifts to the focus. This means like we need to think about the normalizing persons with disabilities in terms of creating an inclusive environment and providing necessary support. So it may be a support to the person or changing the environment around them. So we can support them directly from trainings and like capacity building, those kind of things. And also the changing the environment, making the environment accessible, so it will be helpful to them. And we need to help them to adapt to the environment and make the environment more accessible and accommodating the persons with disabilities. For example, let's say we are recruiting a person to the company, and we might be able to ask them what reasonable accommodation they need when they come into the interview. So do you need a sign language interpreter? Do you need what kind of physical environment you require? Maybe they if they are using a wheelchair, we can arrange a space where they can enter easily. So that kind of reasonable accommodation we can provide for them. So that kind of basic is there in the supported employment process. When it comes to the MAs and supported employment, if I speak about that, so we have a process to follow in with regard to supported employment. These are the things we follow in our process. So first thing is vocational profiling. If a person with disability is starting the employment with us, the first step is supported employment officer will have a close relationship with that employee and start will have a conversation in between regarding their skills, their background, educational qualifications, all the details of that person through a kind of survey. So it is a very right-based approach. It is if the person is willing to provide those details, we will be engaging with them. If not, not considering. So after completing this vocational profile, there's a process called a career action plan, which focuses on the career aspirations of that employee with disability. So if the person is like have a desire to go for a career, like the job role which is different from their current role, or have to go to a like higher position, so supported employment officer will support him or her to achieve that goal. So it is right assessing their skills, education, and all the things, and will support to get that qualifications for them. They will need to work on their skill development, their knowledge development. So supported employment officer will support in achieving this career aspiration. So after that, there will be like working with the employer to match their like aspired job, checking with like what are the environmental conditions, what working hours matches with his or her aspirations. So these kind of conversation going on through this process, and with the employer engagement, and after that there will be on the job training to check whether this person is suitable for this role, and if it is suitable for him or her, it will be an ongoing support and progression further. So this is not a one-time thing. So it will be a process. Time to time there will be assessments and ongoing supports and progression, which will support this employee with disability to achieve his or her career goals. Yeah, so that is about supported employment.
Okay, Shalini. So it's a big process, though we think it is. Though you took it in 2 slides, I would say it is a time-consuming and a lot of effort and time you all have to put to make sure that everyone's talents and they're being supported in every possible way. So there's a lot of hard work as a team at MAS you all are putting to make that a success. Shalini, moving to your second question. What has been your personal learning journey as a supported employment officer? You're getting the first-hand experience of how to do all this. So what are your learnings? What would you like to share with us on this?
Sure, Chani. So personally, it is like, for me, it was a very new experience, because this, as you said in the beginning, this is not a very popular topic, as since I'm also very we didn't have that kind of knowledge regarding this topic. So in the initial stages of this training, we had a good sensitization, I would say. It means personally there were a lot of personal values I got through this training. So so I could share. Yeah. So supported employment officer training is offered by the Department of Disability Studies at University of Kelaniya. In the 2019, MAS initiated this program with University of Kelaniya. So with the engagement of 12 supported employment officers. So it was the model was introduced by Northern Ireland Union of Supported Employment, and the training was initiated by MAS, and currently we have 2 batches who passed out from the this training, and currently we have 15 supported employment officers at MAS who are working with 400, around more than 460 persons with disabilities. So when it comes to the learning journey of this supported employment officer, it was a kind of really like rewarding experience, I would say, because throughout this training, we visited Ayati Center, which is a fabulous place to see the commitments they have made towards these persons with disabilities, especially with the treatments and all the facilities they are providing for these for persons with disabilities. So throughout the training, we have gone through a lot of like novel topics which were not usually talking in the society. So we had the training like related to the sign languages and the different disability types. And for example, we had a training how to use the white cane. I don't think normally we normally don't think that that is a thing we should learn. Like there's a system how to use the white cane, and it's something we should learn, and we should have that learning. And how to talk with the hearing impaired person, what are the things we should know, what are the disability types. We only know few disability types in the world. Like we think like there are only few disability types. So there are different disability types we should know, and how to what are the background of this, and how this supported employment concept evolved, the history, those kind of things. And economic and social aspects, I would say there are like relationships with the poverty and disabilities. So and also it means like it is a cycle. With the poverty, there will be more persons with disabilities, and with the increase of the persons with disability, the more poverty will have spread in the world. So those kind of concepts, how could we address those things? Role of corporate sector, what as corporates, what we can do. Terminologies, for an example, there are a lot of labels which which like in the normal society we identify, like we put labels in on the people, like we identify people with different labels. So what should change from label aspects, like terminology aspects, those kind of lot of knowledge, history, and different standards, especially accessibility related to the normally we have visited different places like temples or public places, banks, shops like supermarkets, and found out that there is no like standard accessibility levels in those places sometimes. So those are the things we have gone through this training, and it was a life learning journey for me personally. And we had we had very good knowledge throughout this period. I would say it was a really a rewarding experience for me.
Indeed, you have learned a lot, which I think which we would have loved to learn, but unfortunately, you've been privileged to go through all that and get the first-hand experience, what it is like to feel using, like you said, the walking stick. Was it, or what was that? Yeah,
White cane.
White cane. Yes. So I mean, quite interesting. Shalini, moving to your third question. To promote inclusivity on a broader scale, how do you effectively interact with persons with disability?
Yes, so when it comes to the broader levels, beyond the company corporate level, so we work with community students to promoting this inclusivity and diversity with them. So for an example, I would provide a recent project that we initiated with the collaboration of Dialogue Asiata. So let me share. Yes. So we had this Dialogue MS Enabler Program 2023 on July, yes, from July first 2 weeks. So this was a 2-week corporate exposure program, which we have done with the graduates and undergraduates of Sri Lanka who are persons with disabilities. So this was a good collaboration with the leading corporate Dialogue Asiata and MAS came together to do this program, which was a very fruitful experience for us. So the goal was to recognize the diverse abilities of potential new entrants to the nation's workforce. And this is not only to support these students, like this is not only focusing providing the corporate exposure to these students, and we had the goal of understanding how better organization could prepare and equip to enable these employees with disabilities to experience exclusive workplaces. So this was a two-way program which benefited them and us also, because they were given the corporate exposure because they have never been in the corporate culture, most of them before. So they were given 2-week exposure in the two companies, Dialogue and MAS. And on the other side, we had the opportunity to bring them to our corporate offices and plant level and to see what challenges we faced as employers to employ the persons with disabilities in our context. So that was a two-way program, which we learned a lot of things from them even. So as like one segment, they had a good opportunity to engage with our leadership, like to learn from them, to like learn how they have grown up, what were the challenges they faced, how they came to these positions, and how they became leaders. So their vision and the possibilities, I think they had a good time talking with them and gaining experiences, which was a rare experience for everyone. And exploring the company culture. They had good 2 weeks to engage with employees, like to engage with the corporate culture. And they met the persons with disability who is working at MAS, how they have achieved their dreams, how to gain their aspirations, and to know about their achievements. Some of them are Paralympians, and some have gained their career objectives throughout this period. So that was a good experience for both parties, and they got connected with these people, employees. Like they had good connection during these 2 weeks. They could communicate, like they could share their opinions. The main thing is each and every day we have provided a feedback form for them to provide the challenges they faced during that day. Like they had to communicate us what were the accessibility issues, what were the problems they faced during that training. And they got hands-on experience while visiting the different SBUs, touch and feel, to touch our products, the machinery, those kind of opportunities. So at the final day, they could talk about their experience. They had a good experience to present what they have learned throughout these 2 weeks. So which was a very fulfilling thing for us as well, because what they have learned throughout these 2 weeks, which we had, we could see what they have gained. So that is about the program we have done with persons with disabilities, the students from different universities in Sri Lanka. So it was a great experience for us. They gave a lot of suggestions and what we should, from as MAs, what we should change from ourselves, what are the accessibility issues they are normally facing when throughout the program, when visiting our SBUs, when visiting corporate offices, those kind of things. So I think it was a good learning experience for corporates. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Shalini, for sharing that information. And I would once again like to extend another round of appreciation to our esteemed panel of speakers today, Ms. Amanti and Ms. Shalini. Thank you once again for joining with us today and sharing these valuable insights and information with us. As we are running short of time, I would like to take one question from our chat box. So I will go this question to Amanti or Shalini. So one of you can take the question. It says, how would you build the momentum to encourage employment of persons with disability among the disabled community?
Sure. Maybe I'll take that simply because from a strategic point of view, there are so many organizations and associations that have been, actively doing work. So with amongst the community, they are a very well informed community if they are in education space or an association. What is really sad is there are lots of people who are outside this due to personal reasons or their families not actually having the opportunity to take them. But if you are in the schools for hearing impaired and all of that, there is a community, and they also have a lot of great associations. We worked with Enable Lanka, etc., Employers Federation. All of them have databases of people who are actively looking for employment, and they're giving them opportunities to train, etc. So if you really do look, you can find. And I just will add to that Nisha's question. She had asked about, how can you do this, about terminology, etc. I mean, we just went with what is the experts, there are the panels, where are they trying to move the conversation, depending from where in the world you are and how you feel about it. If you have more of a sort of approach to it that is looking at it as charity, etc. Sometimes the conversation or the terminology is different, but we are very much about driving that rights-based approach. So that's how we approach it as well. Things will change. It's about keeping the conversation open, asking if we're doing the right thing, getting constant feedback, and even our people are trained in the form of unconscious bias, and this is bias exists across. So unconscious bias training cuts across lots of things, not just about disability, but what you might have with ethnicities from your past, things that might come into play when you work, right? Because you are comfortable with understanding a certain set of people. How can you break those biases? And that is what we need to do at every level, because we never know what sort of bias might be coloring us, and we all have a bias, but understanding that it might come up and it might color us is the first step.
So this is a continuous journey where we have to be very broad-minded and see where we can help out everyone in every possible way. So it's always a journey, like you mentioned at the beginning. So thank you very much, Ms. Chalani and Ms. Amanti, for joining with us today. And we have come to the end of our session today. So for more information on our sustainability journey, you can visit www.themacollection.com. And once again, I would thank you for taking your time and joining with us today, our panel of speakers and our audience. We really appreciate you joining with us. And that comes to the end of the Thema session. Also, do follow us on our social media pages, where you will be up to date with our sustainability projects. Looking forward to seeing you all in our next webinar. Until then, stay connected. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, Jayani.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you.